guys, it's Rizari Dog Science. Guys, as you can see, I've got something to get off my chest, something to express. So, I'm dyslexic. I like to call it dyslexic learning patterns. And the reason why I wanted to come out with this today is that I haven't been frustrated having dyslexic learning patterns. I haven't been ashamed by it, but I have been really frustrated with it. Never ashamed, but frustrated with it, guys, is definitely the word to describe it. So first of all, people may think it's not a big deal. Yeah, it isn't a big deal coming out with it. But like I said, for me, it's been very, very frustrating, especially in a field that I love so much. I love science and technology, and being in academia, it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy, to say the least. It really, really hasn't. And so I feel like I just want to share what I've learned in regards to having dyslexia, being in academia. It's just hasn't been easy. Like for me, for example, I left school with only one GCSE, which was in, you can guess it, was in science. And I managed to get myself all the way to a master's level in academia. It wasn't an easy task. I've said this multiple times now. But what exactly is dyslexia? From my experience, from my research, and from my understanding, it's basically a neurodiversity. A neurodiversity just basically means that, we have different diversity when it comes to people, in the sense of skin color, traits, different things. We have diversity everywhere. Neurodiversity is one such thing. It's a cluster of ways that we use our minds. Some people's brains are wired a bit differently, and this basically means that if the brain is wired a bit different, they will have strengths in certain areas, but those strengths, depending on how strong those strengths are, has an equal, or on the other side, like a coin, has its weaknesses. And with the neurodiversity of dyslexia, the type of strengths that come in this cluster, think of it as people say with autism is a spectrum with all traits. There's a spectrum, but we need to look at this as more of a 3D spectrum as opposed to just a line spectrum. So people that have dyslexia or dyslexic learning patterns, they mostly are in the cluster with having the strengths of, in dyslexia, having the strengths of multilateral thinking, picture thinking. We're able to basically, when we're about to think of something, we're able to see a picture instantly. And we're very good at connecting the dots, solving problems. Let's say a normal mind thinks in a linear fashion from A, B, C, D. People that have dyslexia, this neurodiversity, are able to see from A to Z to K to D to L. And what that basically means, they're able to see the connections between those. So we may struggle in going just thinking in a straight line. And the reason why it expresses itself as a weakness. So you can see why it will express itself as a weakness in reading. So some people that have this neurodiversity may have challenges. I say may have the same challenges or similar challenges because of that understanding. And reading is a linear way of consuming things. It's a linear format. A, B, C, D. So people with dyslexic minds will struggle with that linear format because one of our strengths, there's multiple traits, but one of the strengths or indicators is literally that multilateral thinking the big picture straight away, as opposed to a linear way of thinking. That's why reading can become quite challenging for people that have dyslexia simply because of its nature. So for me, I didn't know I had dyslexia. I didn't know. When I went to school, from a young age, I knew there were some challenges when it came to school. I had major challenges, especially reading. I didn't like reading at all. But I knew what I loved very, very early. I knew I fell in love with the world of science, technology, fantasy stories. I absolutely loved these things. And that, because I wanted to understand how the world works, books were, when I was younger, I'm not that old, books were the only place where I could find and try to understand how everything works around me. So that love, that curiosity was what helped me appreciate the tool of reading. Reading is just a tool. It's just a tool. There are multiple ways of getting in information, and reading is just one of them. And like I said, that passion helped me appreciate that form of consuming information. It wasn't my favorite way of consuming information, but it was a way that I valued it. That's why I'm always an advocate of helping people connect their love to different things, connect their love to things that they do not think may benefit them. Reading is one of them. And moving on, if you ask me how many documentaries have I watched, countless. Thousands and thousands and thousands of documentaries I've watched over the years, and I remember virtually all of them. I can remember them, and I'm always connecting the dots from what I've watched years ago and what I've watched now. The reason is, with dyslexia, we need to engage our whole senses when we're learning. Our eyes, our touch, ears, auditory. We need to engage our senses to be able to take in the information better. Because for me, when I was going through school, I knew I had challenges, but I didn't know what the challenges were. So I understood my own learning patterns. I understood mine to a T. I understood my patterns. So when I left school with just one GCSE, I knew that I had to make a decision. I'll be covering all of this in my podcast. I had to make a decision. Either be like this really popular guy or follow my dreams, follow my passion. And I decided I wanted to be a scientist. That's one thing that I really wanted to become. And I had to make the choice, it being biology or physics. Those were the two that I really loved at the time. Cutting a long story short. And I knew I had challenges. There'd be times where we'd be in a classroom, and this is in college, and when we're reading a book or something, it may take some people like maybe 30 minutes to read it. It would take me if I had to sit there, it would take me more than 2 hours just to read the same material. So I had to learn different techniques. So when I'm learning something in a classroom, I like to go out in nature. If it's about chloroplast or the leaf, I need to be around it. I need to be able to see it, sense it, feel it. Use multiple different things to get it in. because my short-term memory was a bit weaker than my long-term memory. It's like a bridge. My short-term memory bridge was really quite small, and my long-term memory bridge is big. So once I've got it into my long-term memory, I'm cool. I can bring it back very quickly, very easily. But initially, getting the information in was the difficult bit. So I had to be creative. I had to learn in creative ways. Because the bridge was small in processing the new information, I needed to engage the information in multiple different ways. So that would be documentaries, museums. I just indulged myself in different ways of taking in the same information, and it helped stick in my mind better. And once I've got it into my long-term memory, that's it. I can bring it back as quickly or as efficiently as I need it. So yeah, it hasn't been easy, and I just literally want everybody to realize that if you have dyslexia, it's not a weakness. It really isn't a weakness at all. It's not a weakness, because when I study businesses, when I study the way things are moving, our way of thinking, our neurodiversity is being sought after now. In an age where they wanted things to be just like from A, B, C, D, just like that, we're realizing the world is very interconnected. The challenges that we are now facing are very interconnected. We need an interconnected thinking, an interconnected way and approach to solving these problems. And people that have dyslexia, if honed right, this is the thing, honing. If that skill is honed right, it will be a very good, it's a very useful tool in solving the challenges that we have all around the world. Because like I said, everything is connected to everything else. And people that can see these connections, people that are able to find solutions and be able to see these connections and find solutions for these things, is a neurodiversity that is needed. It's needed, and you're needed. So just don't give up. I just wanted to come out. I'll be sharing a lot more things in regards to this. I've even been working on a company, working on a way to deliver science in a more visual, story-based approach, but I'll be talking about that in another time. So yeah, anyway guys, love you so much, and remember, stay curious, stay blessed. Peace out.